Excellent. Hey, this is Jim at Broadfield. Thanks for joining us again this week for our Broadfield Weekly Dealer Webinar. In 15 minutes or less, we're going to give you the information you need to help sell products and add to your sales and ultimately to your bottom line. Broadfield likes to make it super easy for you to do business, and that's one of the reasons why we want to talk to you about the Atomos products. I was just out with Atomos at the Infocom show a few weeks ago, and hanging out with Matt Ivy from Atomos for a couple of days really gave me a better understanding on some of the new upgrades that Atomos has done to their entire product line. If you recall, back at NAB, Atomos made a lot of news talking about their support for ProRes RAW, and now that ProRes RAW is an acceptable and a new format from Apple themselves, and the fact that Atomos supports those cameras with ProRes RAW, there's a lot of news about that. Some of our dealers have been asking exactly what ProRes RAW is and what it means for a post-production workflow, and there's no one better to excuse me, there's no one better to explain that than Jeremy Young from Atomos and this video that he did at NAB.
Instead of taking the sensor values, the RGB, used Bayer, awesome Kodak guy who invented all the sensors behave like this. So they're all very similar, RGB patterns. And the camera processes that to an RGB video pixel, combines them all and gives you a pixel in 4K, is 4,000 of them. And we take that, we pack it into ProRes, which is a really efficient CPU. Well, imagine if you took out the processing of the camera that took it to a video pixel and left it in the RGB Bayer pattern, and then you put it through the ProRes engine. Well, that's what we did. That's what Apple did, and we helped them do it by doing it at the camera. We unlocked 9 different pretty awesome cameras.
So, excuse me, all of Atomos' new firmware supports that ProRes RAW capability, and I think the count right now is up to 7 cameras that support the ProRes RAW. The latest Atomos firmware, Atomos 9.1, updates the Sumo 19 to add ISO recording, quad viewing capability, and that ProRes RAW format. We actually spent yesterday and today updating a bunch of Atomos products that we have in inventory and that we use for our demo units and evals here. And right in front of me is a Sumo. I only have one video input going into this Sumo right now, but you can see from the quad screen layout that this is upgraded to the latest Atomos OS, which is 9.1, their latest firmware upgrade, which is available as a free download directly on Atomos' website. Matt did a great job explaining the features of this at the Infocom show, so let's check out that video from Matt explaining the Atomos 9.1 operating system.
But the cool part about what we've added to the Sumo 19 is now we can take in 4 different HD inputs. Look at that. All those are separate HD 1080 inputs that are coming in, but we've got more to do with that. Listen, we've got a monitoring mode here where now I've got these 4 separate HD inputs, and when I select them, that selected one goes to a switched output, which I have going over here to another Shogun product, and we use that also as a recorder since they all use the same recording. But what's cool is in this mode here, we can now do 4 HD recordings, we call those ISO records, all in the same product, and record to that same drive that goes into the side here of the Sumo 19. So as I push on the record button here, you'll notice that it goes into record. I'm recording 4 files that are all ProRes.mov wrapped, and then when we're done with doing our recording, we can go back out to our main screen mode, and look at this. We go back into our player, and then this turns into a player, and what you'll see is here is the 4 clips that we just recorded. Those are 4 separate HD clips that are in ProRes. You can select each one that you want, make it play. You can scroll through it so you can review what you did. And the cool part is All 4 of those ProRes clips that have been recorded in that ISO record are sitting in a nice, neat little folder.
So as you can see with that firmware upgrade to the Sumo, the greatest thing about it is now when you list the features and specs of getting this 19-inch monitor into a post-production workflow, you can talk about the HDR capability, the high brightness, the live switching no longer requires an asterisk. You have that right on the Sumo itself, allowing you to go to the quad view monitor and switch between your 4 inputs and simultaneously recording all 4 of those ISO recording for later use. It allows you to monitor and record all of the input sources brought into the Sumo 19 itself. If you don't need the recording and switching features, the Sumo 19M is also available at a $19.95 MSRP, and I should have said the Sumo 19 is $24.95 MSRP. So as you can see, there's a lot of features and benefits for that $500 price delta. But the Sumo 19M is available. The Sumo 19M, the only difference there is that it is a monitor only, giving you either an HDMI or an SDI input, but it is a monitor only model for those that need that large screen within their workflow. The Shogun Inferno is also available at $12.95, which is their 7-inch HDR monitor, and the Shogun Inferno was also updated to the Atomos 9.1 firmware. That firmware gives you the 5.7K ProRes RAW recording capability, all built into the Sumo itself, making that, the Shogun I should say, making that Shogun Inferno a perfect match for those 7 ProRes RAW cameras that we talked about earlier from Panasonic, Sony, or Canon. The Atomos 9.1 firmware upgrade for the Shogun Inferno is also available for a free download right now from Atomos' website. Finally, to round out the rest of the Atomos product line with their 7-inch monitors, they have the Shogun Flame, which is their SDI version 4K 30p recording capability at $9.95 MSRP, the Ninja Inferno at $9.95 MSRP, which is their HDMI 2.0 4K P60 model, or the Ninja Flame, which is their HDMI 1.4 4K P30 model at $7.95. I also want to remind you that the Ninja V or Ninja 5 that was introduced at the NAB show at a $5.95 MSRP, which is their 5-inch model, is still expected to ship sometime this summer. So definitely talk to your Broadfield salesperson at 800-634-5178 and make sure you get some pre-orders in for the Ninja 5 so that you can hit the ground running. That's going to be an excellent attached rate monitor with the DSLR cameras that are very popular today. And the other thing that Matt was showing off quite a lot at the Infocom show was the new line of the Atomos converters. All of the Atomos converters are available and in stock here at Broadfield Distributing, with the exception of the 4K converter models that they launched back at actually last year's NAB. The 4K converter models still are not shipping, but are on deck to be released soon, but all of the other converter models are in stock and shipping today. And the great thing about these Atomos converters is the reliability and durability. Every connection on these, including the DC adapter, the HDMI connection, and the SDI connections, are all locking connections. The converters run super cool. We actually had one running at the Infocom booth all day long for about 10 hours straight, and you could put your hand on top of it without burning your hand or without toasting bread. So these Atomos converters are super reliable, super cool, and they get the job done for just about every application. Check out Matt's demo of the Atomos converters from Infocom.
Well, we've got a new introduction for you. That is our converter line. It's called the Connect Converter. And the cool thing about these products is there's a lot of converters on the market, but we've done some things that are fairly unique. They have a locking DC connector, there's a locking HDMI connection that can be done on them, and you can have ears that are on here for rack mounting or not. They run very cool. This particular one is interesting, and the reason we have it here, you see, seen our Sumo demonstration that we did, but in this product here, we have 1080. We're running that into the converter, and we're turning that into 720p. So all within this small little package. That means that we can take 1080 type of productions and turn those into 720p for using for streaming. So the line itself is over here, and they're color coded. Excuse me, they're color coded by functionality. So red products are for video use. These are your standard HDMI to SDI and fiber to SDI. The yellow ones include having a scaler in them so that they do cross conversion. And then these green ones that are here, these are a frame synchronizer that will also do the conversion. That way you can add frame synchronization to cameras, maybe that don't gen lock. And then the blue ones are the analog products. These are for those people that show up at your event and still have that VGA laptop, and you've got to turn it into HDMI or SDI from that standpoint. And then there's some general purpose ones that are a splitter, that's a DA, and one that is a repeat. Now the other thing that they do, there is an application that can be run. These products can run off of a USB, as well as that included DC locking connector that there was for these. This application unlocks other pieces of features that are built into the product, like a proc amp is built in to many of the products, and a lot of good information about what's coming in and what's going out, as well as video settings where you can change what the output is. All of that information can be done through there or through dip switches that are on the product.
So the great thing about these converters is that new Connect OS app that was just released while we were at the Infocom show. The Connect OS app is available for download from Atomos' website and basically allows you to use your computer to configure the converters that need configuration, whether it's the scaling converters or the Genlock. It allows you to configure them by connecting them USB to your computer through that software application. In a lot of applications, it makes it easier than diddling with the dip switches on the converter itself. So that's a great utility and a great tool to get these configured properly and quickly. So the Atomos converters are color-coded, as Matt described, with the red models being the Convert series, allowing you to convert SDI to HDMI for $99. And then they have the Convert TC with the time-based correction for $498 MSRP. And then they also have the fiber models, SDI to fiber or fiber to SDI at $185. And then we get into the yellow converters. The yellow converters are what adds the scaling. And the reason for the color coding is that these are tools that a video production person would put into their toolbox and pull out as needed. If you're going on to a shoot and rolling a van in for setup or opening up a backpack with all of your tools, it's a lot quicker and easier if you can easily find the right converter for the job. And that's where that color coding really helps. The scaling converters, HDMI to SDI or vice versa, is $248 MSRP. And then the green ones are the Genlock capability, adding the sync in SDI to SDI or HDMI to SDI at a $398 MSRP. Then you have the blue converters, adding that scaling capability. Now these are larger converters, so whereas these small ones can be powered over USB, these larger ones are going to require the DC power adapter, but again, all of these converters do have locking connections. And those blue converters, the scaling converters, are $350 MSRP, and that's analog to SDI HDMI, or vice versa, SDI HDMI to analog. And then Atomos offers a SDI splitter at $198 or an SDI repeater for your lawn runs at $119 MSRP. If you have any questions about any of these converters, definitely give us a call at 800-634-5178 and reach out to your Broadfield salesperson, and we can help send you the complete price sheet as well as a great data booklet that we have on all of these converters, showing you the different features and functionalities across the entire product line. Again, all of the new Atomos firmware, whether it's the Connect OS or the Atomos 9.1 for the Shodan Inferno or the Sumo 19, are available directly from Atomos' website under the support category, where you can download firmware, just choosing the product that you need that updated firmware for. Next week, we are doing our monthly webinar showing you new products and promotions for the month of July. The following week is going to be right after the 4th of July holiday. We are going to be bringing you a Best of Broadfield, showing you some of our past webinars and refreshing your memory about how these dealer webinars can help you maximize your sales and profits. July 12th, we're hoping to have some news from BirdDog on the BirdDog Studio NDI with the BirdDog comms, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we can tell you that the BirdDog Mini is shipping or close to it. And then we're keeping July 19th open to talk about some new products that we're expecting down the pipe as well. And if you have any suggestions or questions about these webinars, you can send me an email to jim@broadfield.com, and I'd be happy to put on air stuff that you think would help benefit your sales and your company. Thank you for joining us again today. We'll see you next Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time.
Broadfield Distributing is a value-added distributor of live production, streaming, video editing, and storage products. We only sell to resellers. We are always looking for new dealers, so call us at 800-634-5178 or email sales@broadfield.com. You'll like doing business with Broadfield because we make it easy to do business.